Just because Marc Daniels isn't here doesn't mean there's no beat of sports. Filling in for Mark, here's Mike Talk.
Giddy up, let's go. It is the Beat of Sports on FM 96.9 The Game and AM 740. We are online and streaming on YouTube. 96.9 Game on. Links on the Twitter machine as well. You can check us out there. A kind of a in my feelings day filling in for Marc Daniels, and I'll tell you why in a second. That is Chris Vasquez, who is not enjoying the pollen outside right now.
It's been brutal, man.
You sounded rough coming in. I mean, to the point where you opened your mouth and said, "Hey," and I was like, "Are you okay?"
It's between the pollen outside, between the dust and everything going on inside my house with the kitchen remodel.
Yeah.
It's been a rough few days, and then stuff that happened to me yesterday. It's not been fun. It's been a rough few days for me.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm sorry to hear all that, and we'll power through, though. Yeah. I promise. We'll get you through. This is the moment in the day to lift your spirits, to get away from all the rest of it.
I was just about to say, this is my getaway.
Yeah.
This is my escape from the real world to, talk sports and just, focus on that for 2.5 hours.
I always think about that, like, and what a fortunate thing to be able to do this in our position, and certainly I am appreciative of Mark always allowing me the opportunity to come in here when he's out and have this spot. I love what I do now at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, but to be able to do this as well is just fun. It's, yes, it's work and prepping and all that stuff that comes with it. You don't just roll in here and do it, but it certainly is a nice getaway. And I remember 4 years ago today, filling in for Marc Daniels. Similar circumstances, although it would have been the American basketball tournament back then that UCF was in Fort Worth, not the Big 12 tournament that they're in now. And it was a Friday, though, on the 11th. And I remember leaving and wrapping up that show and turning to Scott Harris, who was across the way producing Mark's show. Said, this is it. This is my last weekend to rest, to sleep in. Baby's on the way in a week, due dates in a week. So this is it. This is the final weekend before the baby. We had a scheduled C-section. So that's it. And then the day goes on. My wife comes home and she says, I think I'm having contractions at the hospital. Okay. So we roll into the hospital, and then they monitor her for an hour or so. And because of our past and some issues, we probably think it best we'll just induce and we'll let you have the baby tonight, which she was in favor of at that point as well, as opposed to trying to yo-yo back and forth for the next week with it.
Right.
And it wasn't today his birthday. Tomorrow's his birthday. He made it to 12:43 a.m. So he's a March 12th baby, and he'll turn 4 tomorrow. So happy birthday to my baby boy, Tyler.
Happy birthday to Tyler.
Yeah. So
very nice.
If I'm here tomorrow, I'll say that again. But yeah, what I was thinking about
birthday music for
it was actually, 4 years today, because it would have been today that we ended up going to the hospital. So that's it's amazing how time flies. And I know with KV has 2 little ones and you have a little one, and people will tell you, and it's so true, you blink and they're talking, they're walking, they're causing trouble.
It's insane. Growing up, we've always wanted time to move faster. We want our next birthday. We want Christmas. We want
next football season.
We want next football season. We wanted summer vacation.
Yeah.
And now it's holy hell, slow.
Yeah.
I take back everything I said about speeding everything up. Slow it down.
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye, my daughter's 1. Your baby boy is about to turn 4. It's wow.
Yep, can't turn back time, man. And with that, what a day in sports yesterday. Holy smokes. We just discussed Bam, so I'll come back to that in a little bit. Where do you sit, right, with actually, it's funny enough, they're talking about it on television now. Where do you sit with Italy upsetting the United States yesterday? United States heavy favorites to win the game yesterday, 7-1 favorites to win. So enormous upset as far as the books are concerned. And now the possibility the United States doesn't make it out of the knockout stage, depending on what happens with Mexico and Italy in their matchup today. If Italy wins, the United States moves on. If Mexico wins and scores more than 5 runs, the United States moves on. But if Mexico scores 4 runs or less and wins, the United States, they go back to spring training. I mean, they don't even go home. They just go back to spring training.
It's kind of a disappointment. I mean, you're right.
But I like you're right. But for you, like, how does it hit versus every other international competition as far as on the scale of 1 to 10 of devastated, frustrated, angry to, all right, shrug your shoulders and move on to the next thing?
I fall into the it is what it is category.
Okay.
I mean,
which is what, like a number 2, 3, 4, 5? Where are we on that?
like a 2.
Okay. So pretty low.
Yeah.
Pretty low.
I mean, obviously you always want to root for your country. You want to see them succeed. And, coming off the high of what the men and women hockey teams did at the Olympics, you were hoping, I know different sports, but you were hoping some kind of momentum would carry over to the World Baseball Classic for the American team. And
I love that word momentum. As if the U.S. men's hockey, Jack Hughes was suddenly going to push powers into Nolan McLean's body. How does that work?
But, it sucks to lose, but they still have a chance to at least make it out of this stage.
If they make it out, they're going to be favored to win it, I think. So,
I mean, we all get upset every once in a while.
Right. It's
happens.
baseball.
Yeah.
It's baseball. They didn't see it coming, wasn't expecting to happen. Thankfully, they rallied to score 6 runs and even had a man on in the bottom of the 9th with a chance to actually tie the game up. And Aaron Judge, of all people at the plate, that would have been a miraculous comeback to try to tie it and win it. But even as it is, I'd still feel pretty good about their chances if Mexico, I would think, wins and scores some runs, then I think, they'll move on and life will be good. But it's not even close to the men's Olympic basketball or the World Cup soccer or the hockey we just saw those are best players living in the moment. That's all that matters. These are guys that it matters, and it matters a lot, frankly, but it is kind of a one and done. Things didn't go their way. They lost a game. I turn the page. A couple of years, they'll do it again. We'll see who's on the team. It won't be the end of the world. I know people are going to be mad at Mark DeRosa because some guys didn't play last night. Okay, so Alex Bregman sat, and we put in Gunnar Henderson. Okay, that, in my opinion, is not even a drop-off. Cal Raleigh sat. All right, Will Smith played. The guy who hit the game-winning homer in the World Series has been a multiple-time All-Star for the Dodgers. Let's not pretend they just decided to
These
play.
guys are the best of the best in the sport.
Yes, we're not Italy going from the starters to guys you've never heard of before. Right, where we have some depth here. The pitching didn't get it done yesterday, and then the hitters didn't get it done for the large majority of the game.
Yeah, you can't give up 8 runs. It's hard to win a game when you give up 8 runs.
Correct.
It's hard. And then they were down 8-0. What, in the 6th?
6th.
So I mean, you're not going to win if you don't score.
Right.
Then you give up 8. So I mean, they did what they did to try and come back, but it just came up short.
Yeah. No, they want to win. They didn't win. Let's see what happens today, and if things break their way, good. Then they'll get a chance to win a few more and try to win this thing, because they were, of course, one batter short the last time around a couple of years ago. Man, incredible day in the NFL as well. And what is your initial reaction in connecting dots or not with Ravens say, no, we're not doing the trade, and back out, as the Raiders put it, with Max Crosby, and then give or take, 16 hours later, sign Trey Hendrickson?
Right now, it seems kind of grimy.
You think?
It seems kind of grimy. When my friend had sent me the notification that the Ravens were backing out, my first thought was, wow. And then everyone starts piecing the Trey Hendrickson piece together. If you're the Ravens, you got to feel so disgusting about yourself. If you're the Raiders, yeah, you're kind of pissed. You were, everything you had done in free agency was contingent, essentially, on Max Crosby leaving. Now you're taking Max Crosby back. You know, the 14th pick in the NFL draft to go with presumably Fernando Mendoza at another receiver. Like, you're starting to get hyped for this upcoming season, and now it's just like needle balloon, just deflated. But you know what? If you're the Raiders, even though you sign all these guys, you can still afford to bring back Max Crosby. That's still not a bad defense. I'm not too mad at it. Yes, again, you want the 2 first-round picks from the Ravens, but
what are the odds? You're taking it where I would not have thought. What are the odds you think Crosby's a Raider to start the year?
I think it's very high now.
Really?
I think it's very high. I know the failed physical when he's 8 weeks removed from meniscus surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was he supposed to just have a 100% healed meniscus in 8 weeks?
Yeah.
If I'm the Raiders, I'd try and keep him. I don't think they're not going to get 2 first-round picks now. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, do you settle for a 2?
I think they could. I still think they could get 2 first-round picks. It may not be.
No way.
It may not be the 14th pick.
No way.
They might have to take your Cowboys' 20th pick.
Cowboys are already out.
Jerry Jr. over here telling me the Cowboys
are already out.
Look, it felt dirty yesterday, and the fact that Trey Hendrickson signs today smells a lot like the Ravens going, oh, we didn't realize we could get him, and we'd rather have Hendrickson and 2 first-round picks of ours back instead of Max Crosby, which you can't blame him. I mean, Crosby's a better player than Hendrickson, but if I could have, 2 picks and Hendrickson versus Crosby, yeah, I probably would rather do that too. There's just these, again, sort of unwritten rules with it all, right? In business and handshakes and all the like, that you burn bridges, right? It may be legal, but it doesn't mean you should do it.
Right.
It may not be morally or ethically the way you want to move, and how the rest of the league responds. I don't know if there is ramifications for Goodell and his office, but certainly
would they be, though?
Others might try to hold Baltimore accountable on this in ways that are not seen.
But, real quick, pivoting back to the Dallas point.
Yes.
According to Adam Schefter, Cowboys doctor, Dr. Cooper, was involved in the medical review for the Ravens on Max Crosby, which is why I say the Cowboys are already out. Because then it kind of looks like, oh, they failed the physical, so now the Cowboys can swoop in and take Max Crosby. That would be grimy too. I mean, it is a business. It could happen. But I don't think the Cowboys are in on Max Crosby. To your point now, what would the ramifications be? How can Roger Goodell punish the Ravens?
I don't think he can.
Exactly.
I don't think he can. I don't know how others could intentionally overlook or neglect Baltimore, hold them to a higher standard when it comes to deals.
It's not like they technically did anything wrong, though, because no deals are official until one's today at 4 o'clock.
I know, but just because you technically didn't do anything wrong doesn't mean you didn't do something wrong. We know how that goes.
The Ravens are going to use this failed physical, in quotes, to justify why they backed out of the trade.
Hey, when credit Tom Pelissaro, the NFL .com NFL Network reporter, when he says GM said it's a bunch of BS.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
what the Ravens, again, I told you, grimy. Grimy is the word I would use to describe Baltimore.
I would disagree with you, though. I think it's still probably 10% or less chance he's a Raider. I think that they will find a trade partner, and I do think it will be close to the same value. Not as much,
No
maybe
way.
maybe 90 cents on the dollar.
No way. You still think they can get 2 first-round picks?
I don't think it'll be, again, the second first round. You never know, right? Like, I don't think Carolina thought they were trading away the number 1 overall pick to Chicago when they made the Bryce Young deal, as that turned out to be. So you don't know what the next season's first rounder will look like, if it'll be high or low. Even when Houston made the deal for Will Anderson, people were like, oh, that's stupid because that's going to be a top 10 pick. And then Houston made the playoffs, and it was nowhere close to that. So it'll be less by the nature. I think it'll be a team potentially drafting in the 20s. So it's going to be a lower pick this year, and then next year would be up for grabs. Look, I'm not saying it will be 90% He's 90 cents on the dollar, but I'd be surprised if it's below 70 cents on the dollar. I think they'll still do okay because Crosby's still a stud, and there was still big interest across the league.
Look, I would love to have Max Crosby in Dallas. I would, Green Bay, you can take back Rashawn Gary, give us our 4th round pick back, and then we'll put together a much cheaper package. Because originally the Cowboys had a 1st, a 2nd, and a player for Max Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
Raiders said no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't even see a 1st round pick going to the Raiders. And if you're the Raiders at this point, given everything you just added on defense, why not keep Max Crosby? Why not have an elite defense?
Because it still doesn't make sense. It does. He's not going to make them an elite defense. He hasn't. Respectfully to him, he hasn't because they're not any good.
Any help around him.
He still doesn't.
They've added a lot of pieces on defense.
They haven't had one guy that makes me think the Raiders are going to be any good next year.
They've added a lot of pieces on defense.
I understand. I don't think the Raiders are any good. They're going to be starting a rookie quarterback. Yeah, great. Tyler Linderbaum. That's awesome. They're going to be bad. They will be bad. Naylor catching passes does not get me excited if I'm a Raiders fan. It still makes the most sense to trade, get the most, and build up because a 30-year-old pass rusher is not going to be what helps you be good in 3 years when hopefully everything takes flight the way you intend it to do. To me, New England, right? Why not New England as a possibility? They were just in the Super Bowl. They certainly could afford to do it. You start looking at the rest of the AFC. I don't know that Jacksonville would do it. Be interesting, though. That would be interesting.
But and then
Chiefs already made their
to add on to
splash.
that again. What is the package? Is it a
Chargers?
1st round this year and a first? You think they're going to trade him in division? No,
That wouldn't be their first choice. No,
it's not going to happen.
You don't think he's getting traded? I think it's definitely way more likely he gets traded.
I think it's more likely he stays with the Raiders.
Oh wow, that'd be something. Well, the Rams can't do it. We can eliminate that.
Do not put it past.
We can eliminate the
Sean
Rams.
McVay and the Rams.
This isn't draft day. They're not trading like 3 seconds for the number 8 pick in the draft. That's not happening here. Oh, man. What a day, though, yesterday. And what a week so far in free agency. I want to give you my thoughts on the Dolphins, Bucks, and Jags to this point and what they've done and where that leaves them for the rest of the free agency period and going into the draft. Don't go anywhere. Crazy, busy day here on the Beat of Sports.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? 1 Forrest 1.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Oh, that's so great.
I was in such a pissy mood yesterday. I didn't even do a joke. I did not do a joke yesterday. So I'm hoping the joke I give today will make up for the no joke yesterday.
Okay. That's a lot of pressure on yourself.
I know. But I have to deliver to the fans. What is a baseball player's least favorite Star Wars movie?
Least favorite Star Wars movie. What is it?
That would be The Umpire Strikes Back.
Maybe Trekkies find that funny. I don't know.
Welcome back to the Beat of Sports. Filling in for Marc Daniels, here's Mike Tuck.
10 o'clock, WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, Orlando sports leader, online and streaming at 969thegame.com. YouTube video stream is up as well, 96.9 Game On. Also available on Twitter and X. Mike Tuck with Chris Vasquez, Marc Daniels at the Big 12 Conference Basketball Tournament. UCF will take on Cincinnati. The Bearcats won yesterday, and so an 8-9 matchup at approximately 3 o'clock this afternoon. The winner will advance to play Arizona in tomorrow's matchup, also at around 3 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. So a lot of news in the NFL today about what the Ravens did or didn't do in Max Crosby, but let's focus in a little bit on what the teams in our state have done thus far and what it means. I'll start with Tampa. Mike Evans walks to go to San Francisco. To me, you're still putting the number up in the rafters. He's still going to the Hall of Fame as a Buccaneer. He elected free agency. The Bucs elected to allow him to go to free agency, which makes sense at his age. All right. Like, to me, it's peaceful parting of the ways. Let's just leave it at that. To me, Tampa Bay drafted and prepared for this, if we're being totally honest. Last year, everyone thought they were going to go with a defensive end, a rush guy maybe in the draft, and they took a receiver and Emeka Egbuka in the first round. Clearly, they had this on their mind, plus just best player available idea. So they're ready for this moment. To me, it's not that big of a deal if you're Tampa, that you can't recover from and still be successful this year. Bringing in Alex Anzalone addresses a major need at linebacker, in my opinion, at 2 years and $17 million. And now, to me, it's about investing on the defense. And by the way, they could make it work if they were interested in Max Crosby. They could make it work.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you on the Mike Evans take.
Okay. In what way?
The Bucs essentially were horrible last year. Emeka Egbuka, yes, he started out scorching hot. But we talked about it, Mark and I did yesterday. His final 8 games, one game, he went over 60 yards. No touchdowns after that scorching hot start. Chris Godwin's been limited to 16 games over the last 2 seasons. Again, major leg injury, I get that. No one outside of Egbuka and Cade Otton broke 500 yards. Sterling Shepard was their third leading receiver at 370-some yards. Losing Mike Evans, yes, age, injury concern. Losing Mike Evans now gives you another need of receiver, which I think they should address again in the first round of the draft.
I would not. I could not. Not with the way the roster is structured. To me,
they need help.
They need to help their defense first and foremost. If you can tell me you're going to line up, and right now there's no reason to think otherwise. I mean, Godwin's injuries are in the rearview mirror. He did play to completion of the season last year. Jalen McMillan missed the whole first half of the year, then obviously came back in the second half. So you have your top 3 wideouts ready and available. You brought back Cade Otton in free agency this week. You bring in Kenny Gainwell to take Rachaad White's spot in the roster. So the backfield, you might add another guy in there. Sean Tucker looking for something else elsewhere. So, but you can draft somebody or, whatever with your third running back there. The interior offensive line can use some improvement because they had injuries there last year. So you could draft some depth. But to me, clearly need to get after the passer better. Could address the secondary as well, potentially. But there's multiple picks in a draft. I'm not telling you not to take a wide receiver, but to me, I wouldn't go wide receiver 2 years in a row in the first round when you have greater needs.
We didn't think they'd go wide receiver when they had bigger needs last year. Again, Egbuka, solid pick.
And I think he's going to be great. He was a rookie last year.
Yeah,
there's no reason for me to think he's not going to be much better this year.
But again, just that fall off that he had last year. The
JSN,
second half of the season.
I know I'm taking an easy route here going the Ohio State wide receiver route, but JSN didn't set the world ablaze his rookie year either. He wasn't nearly as good as Emeka was his rookie year. And I'm not saying that Emeka is going to do what JSN did, but I'm just saying he was a rookie.
I don't know. And then just the uncertainty of you have Todd Bowles last year of his contract, Baker Mayfield last last year of his contract. What are you going to do those two spots? There's a lot of uncertainty.
I would extend Baker, flatten out that cap space a little bit, give him an extension. There's no reason to me to not think that he can be our quarterback for the next few years.
Again, the way the season ended for the Bucs last year, I mean, they had the division locked. They had it locked up, and they just completely fell apart. That, to me, raises questions on if Baker should be their quarterback moving forward. I don't know what you do, because there's no one in this year's draft that you're going to take. So I guess maybe a 1-year extension?
I mean, you can speculate on a backup, and that's usually all it is, to be perfectly honest, is when you take guys in the mid rounds that they don't turn out to be franchise quarterbacks very often.
I don't know. I think,
but I mean, there's clearly some concern with Todd Bowles. I get that. I wouldn't even argue that. But as far as the roster construction is concerned, I think they're in pretty good shape going into the season, and they had already prepared for Mike Evans' departure. So it happens. He's certainly an old wide receiver at this stage in the game, a very productive one. But last year with the injuries, finally we saw a fall off a little bit. I think San Francisco is taking an educated gamble that he's going to bounce back and give them something that looked like the last handful of years. But I think Tampa's in a pretty decent spot. And certainly linebacker was something they had to look at with Levante David at 36 years old now. So Alex Anzalone, former Gator, comes home. So I think that solves that a little bit. The Jaguars got to replace Devin Lloyd. Kind of anticipated that was going to be the case. And Carolina is, to me, one of the big winners so far, if there is such a thing in free agency, with what they've dumped into the investments that they've made. Center, guard, tackle upgrades, to me, for Jacksonville. Like when their offense went haywire, it's because they couldn't protect Trevor Lawrence last year. So to me, that is priority number one. They could use a second tight end now because of departures. Brenton Strange is a good starter, but adding somebody else to the roster, whether it's in free agency or the draft, and then definitely need some help at corner with a departure there. So that's another area for them to look at. I think you're going to add another back to the backfield, but I wouldn't even be close to label it a priority. They took two guys last year, in Bashal Tutin and in LaQuint Allen, to serve as starter receiving back. So they were ready for this moment. They moved on from Tank Bigsby. They were ready for this moment to let Etienne walk. You can bring somebody else in and you will, to add another piece of that backfield, but to me, it's not nearly as a priority as the other things.
I don't know. If you're Jacksonville, you're probably concerned a little bit about the lack of free agency moves. Like, they ended, I think, they had an 8-game win streak last year to end the season. They were right there, just came up short against Buffalo in the playoffs. You want to see them improve. I know now there's kind of contradicting reports about whether they want to trade Brian Thomas or not. Obviously, they traded up for Travis Hunter, so they don't have a first-round pick this year. They do have some holes to address. You would like to have seen them make some kind of move other than losing a few guys via free agency, but here we are with the Jags.
When you win, I mean, certainly we've seen that be the case in Seattle, you're going to have departures. You cannot pay everybody. You're reliant on players playing beyond what their rookie contract status is to win a Super Bowl. That's the key to success, right? Is having guys in their first 4 years when they're young, energetic, to hit, and then you have to make your decisions on what is most valuable to you, what you can afford to bring back. And if you're doing your due diligence, you've already started drafting replacements and will fill those holes as need be. But that's where Jacksonville is to some degree, is you can't afford to bring everybody back. You have to make some tough decisions. Look, it's going to be a competitive division next year. You have to look at Houston and Indianapolis as real threats, and Tennessee's been spending money. And if Cam Ward gets better and the coaching gets better, then you might have really quite the battle on your hands in that division next year. But Jacksonville is in pretty good shape. You expected Lloyd to walk, so I don't think you're terribly surprised by that.
No, but I also think you are in a good spot. We weren't expecting Liam Cohen to come in and do the job he did, and he led them to a division win as well, or a division title, as well as nearly a playoff win in his first year after the team was horrible the year before. So good leadership above. Just got to fill out that roster a little bit.
The Miami Dolphins, we don't quite have enough time for. We got to get to Keith Smith, and I don't want to not do service to what they've done so far
don't
which is a
understand
lot of
it.
departures
Don't
and
understand it.
adding Malik Willis into the mix. So
No sense.
we will address that later.
It makes no sense.
I will make it make sense for you.
Please do.
All right.
Because right now it doesn't.
We got Keith Smith and Marc Daniels in the news. So at 11 o'clock hour, we will swing back around and do coverage for the Miami Dolphins in their offseason so far. I had jotted down some notes for Keith Smith, and then we get an 83-point effort last night. So that'll lead the way as we talk about Bam Adebayo and the rest of the NBA news next with Keith Smith.
Time to talk basketball with Keith Smith. The latest on the Magic and around the NBA. Follow Keith on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA.
Mike Tuck from Marc Daniels on this Wednesday edition of the Beat of Sports. Mark and the Knights at the Big 12 Conference Tournament. They'll take on Cincinnati this afternoon. Keith Smith joins us now. Keith, what an unbelievable night last night in Miami. Who would have thought that the Wizards and Heat would be giving us the game of the night for what happened? And I want to know from you, how many names would you have rattled off before getting to Bam Adebayo on the list of guys that could have scored 83 points in a game?
83? I don't know. It would have been a lot. It would have been quite a few, that's for sure.
So what is your initial reaction to it happening?
Yeah, I mean, were there some shenanigans and some silliness? Absolutely, there was. There was in Kobe's game. If you read all the reports from Will Chamberlain's game, there absolutely was. That was a 40-point game where he played 48 minutes, and most accounts say he wasn't even getting across half court on defense by the end of the game because they were trying to get him to 100. So every one of these games are going to have high scoring. You're going to have some silliness in there, but that discounts. The silliness comes when it's like, oh man, this guy's having an all-time kind of night. And if you're mad at anybody, be mad at the Wizards for continually fouling him over and over and over again to put him to the line so often.
Yeah, he did break the record for attempts by Dwight Howard and the makes from Adrian Dantley and Wilt Chamberlain, 36 out of 43 from the line last night from Bam Adebayo. What does it mean to you in regards to the possibility, perhaps? Because I mean, it's 2006 was a long time ago. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years in our lives, but that was a long time ago that Kobe went for 81. That maybe 100 is within reach. Yeah,
it's going to take something really special because if you think about Kobe and you think about Bam, they were still 19 and 17 points away.
Yeah.
Like, that's still a lot. Like Bam could have hit 5 more 3-pointers and still not have got cut in there. Like, it's going to take, I've thought about this a lot more than I should probably admit to. But it's going to take somebody hitting like 20 3-pointers and then getting a minimum of 30 to 40 free throws. I think that's almost going to have to be the path to get there because other than that, it's going to be really hard to get there. Just, the number of shots you need to get up to get close is incredible.
Yeah, and then you have to be willing to perhaps play past a certain point when the game could be out of reach because you would assume a blowout if somebody's playing that well to make it happen. Of course, people bring up the Dallas game for Kobe where, through 3 quarters, the Lakers were up so big he never bothered to play in the fourth quarter in a game where he might have gone for 81 in that game or more that particular night as well. So a lot of stars have to align, as you say, to make it happen. Keith Smith joining us now here on the Beat of Sports. Mike Tuck and from Marc Daniels. If there was a guy whose name would be called off pretty quick who might be able to go after it, would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But he is on the verge of another record. He tied Wilt Chamberlain in an incredible game theater against the Denver Nuggets the other night where he had a late 3 to win it. At 126 consecutive games where he has scored 20 points or more in NBA history. For the little ones out there, Wilt Chamberlain's name comes up a lot because he was really good at basketball and dominated for a long, long time. What does this particular record mean to you if Shai gets it tonight?
Yeah, this one's really something because, you don't necessarily expect to see a player get to that level, so many times in a row. Like you said, and I think the Wilt stat is after it was broken, then I think he did it 90 more times.
92, yeah.
So which is just, absolutely incredible when you think about that. Wilt Chamberlain stuff, you start to look at some of the all-time things, it's like, this doesn't even make sense. It's almost similar, like some of the Wayne Gretzky, hockey things, or it's like, wait, how is this? Like, every year this guy was doing these kind of things. But with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, especially in the way today's game is played, and the fact that over the last couple of seasons, the Thunder have had a lot of blowout wins where you would have thought there might have been a game or two in there where he might have, come out and because he's had games where he's had a ton of assists. It might have been, all right, tonight I only needed to score 10 points. And I called it a night early that he's been this consistent. I mean, he's one of the absolute best players in the game. And, there are reasons why, because he gets it done every single game he plays.
Yeah, you think a rolled ankle or something happens in a game and you sit out. And I mean, you brought it up last year. The Thunder were killing folks, where a lot of their starters were only playing 3/4. So part of this streak has been scoring those 20 points before games got out of hand. So pretty crazy accomplishment when you look at it. And then like KD's down there at 72, Michael Jordan is at 72, Kareem's on there a couple of times at 71 and 70, Jordan again at 69. Like, it's no joke to get it to 126. I mean, you're doubling up some of the great players in NBA history to get it to this stage in the game. So just an amazing thing by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with Oklahoma City. Steve Kerr, and this has been brought up before. It's just the latest time it's been brought up. Said again the other day, the NBA might be better off playing 10 less games and having a 72-game regular season. There are a lot of things that go into it, Keith, and I'd like for you to dive into some of them. What are the odds that we would ever see the NBA shrink their regular season?
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It would. The only way this happens is if you can get to a point where the money being charged for individual game tickets is so high that they all feel like, yeah, we can drop, a handful of games. And then that's a huge loss for fans who want to go to games. And I think Steve Kerr said cutting 10 games off. So you're taking 5 home games away from every team. Well, 5 home games is a lot of money. And this is not just for the owners. The players don't want to give up any money either, because the owners are going to say, all right, we lose 5 games of revenue. That all goes into the pot that is shared with the players, roughly 50-50. Well, nobody wants to give up any of that money. So that's where this gets really sticky, because it's just we're at a point where I think we all know it probably would be better to cut some of this. I do wonder if eventually what they do is the in-season tournament turns into more of a real kind of tournament style play, where if you get knocked out, you're just out and that's it. And then you get, a few extra days off. There's not this group stage stuff and all that. I do wonder if that's where it eventually goes to. And that's how you kind of lower the games played, except for the teams who make these runs. But yeah, we're in a spot where we got to think about things a little bit differently. But I just don't see it coming anytime soon.
Yeah, you'd be 100% right with the fans, how we would potentially suffer the 5 games, the arenas, and those that work at the arenas and make money off of game day events, that they would suffer. Basically, the rest of us would take it on the nose for the players to get more rest. What are the chances that we'd ever extend a season like that? We're ending, instead of in June, we're ending in July to facilitate more rest for the players and less back-to-backs?
Yeah, it's something they talk about a lot. And I think, as much as, don't get me wrong, the pandemic was horrible, I think the NBA learned a lesson of people just aren't looking for basketball in July and deep into July, especially, which is what they learned from the bubble. Those early games were just not, I mean, the very first ones were, because it was like, hey, we have sports again. This is great. But then as it went along, people just weren't really, looking for it. And I think the league knows, like they don't want to do that. I think the players would push back on going deeper into the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys do a lot of things in the summer, whether it be playing internationally on national teams and the like, in FIBA or Eurobasket or the Olympics in those years. And then a lot of guys you see, I mean, some of these guys, they're traveling for months doing like shoe tours and everything else. So I think you're going to get a lot of pushback from a lot of sides of just, nobody really wants to go deeper. So then that becomes, all right, well, maybe you start a little earlier. And the trouble with starting earlier is the league already overlaps with football more than they would like to. And it's just, I think this is one of those ones where it's probably going to be what it is. And until somebody says, you know what, we really got to try something different and can get everybody to buy in, we're probably going to see it look pretty similar to what it looks like now.
Keith Smith, as always, plenty to talk about today, and great job covering it for us. We appreciate the time.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Keith Smith, great follow at Keith Smith NBA on the Twitter machine. Live from Kansas City, Missouri, it's going to be Marc Daniels joining the show next.
Utah, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma. From somewhere else in the country, let's welcome the host of the Beat of Sports as a guest on his own show. Here's Marc Daniels.
Chris Vasquez here. I'm Mike Tuck in for Marc Daniels traveling today. A reminder, at noon today, you can listen to an early edition of Game On with Bianchi and Kravitz. They'll be at the Harp and Kelt, downtown Orlando from 12 until 2:30, bringing you up to pregame of UCF's game against Cincinnati today in Kansas City in the Big 12 tournament with a tip time for 3 o'clock. That's where Marc Daniels resides right now, somewhere in Kansas City. Mark, I had a soccer game I had to coach last night for my 9-year-old. Little did I know I should have set the DVR to record Wizards and Heat last night because I got home and Bam already had 43 at halftime. I didn't see that one coming. I also am a little bit miffed by the negative reaction to it today. What is your take overall on 83 for Bam last night?
The team won the soccer game.
We did lose.
Well,
the other
we
teams
learned a lot, right?
Yeah, no. Oh, of course. At this age, that's all we're trying to do is have fun.
So here's my thought about Bam's game last night. I'm going to be critic and then defender. Is that okay?
Yes.
So
play both sides of the fence.
I'm going to be, I'm going to be a critic because the first half is pure basketball. Into the third quarter is somewhat pure basketball. The fourth quarter is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
It's absurd because now we're chasing this, and we're chasing it in a way that's insulting to the game. Forget how bad the Wizards are, but the Heat are fouling to get the ball back, okay? So we've made a mockery of the game. So from that standpoint, it's 83 points. It'll earn its place in the record book, but it was a mockery to get there, and it's embarrassing for the overall image of the game. Hard stop. The defender is, we don't have any video of Wilt's 100-point game. We know how many shots he took, and the game was covered differently then than it is now. So we just assumed that it was this great accomplishment of scoring 100 points when the fact of the matter is that also was ridiculous in the set. He took over 60 shots. Kobe's 81-point game, and Mike, you probably know this. What did he take, 20-some-odd shots in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
I think he took every shot in the final 15 minutes or something like that for the Lakers.
I think it was 13 out of 15.
Okay. So they had a big lead too. So if we're going to criticize Bam for that, you have to be fair in that the two other games that are part of this discussion to some degree did the same thing. Now, the Lakers weren't fouling the Raptors like the Heat were to get the ball back, but Kobe got the ball every possession for the most part, and they were trying to get him all these points. So the first half and into the third quarter of all these performances are incredible basketball performances. Then it becomes a joke, and all three of these games in some form or fashion had the same joke. So I'm going to criticize but also defend Bam because the other games are the same thing. It's not like Kobe scored 81 in a playoff game that came down on final shot.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilt, it was a joke as well. So do what you want to do with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, very rarely would you see, it's hard to imagine a game where somebody is that dynamic and the game is still being contested late. I mean, it's not in defense of Kobe, but they were down 18 in the third quarter. Like, Kobe needed to put up 55 in the second half to get the Lakers back in. But as you pointed out, by the time we got into the fourth quarter, and it should be noted too, like, he was just trying to chase down Elgin's team record of, was it 60 or 61 back then? And so he passed that, and then the game got out of reach, and he just tacked on some more points. It wasn't.
And the Raptors
he had no chance at Wilt.
Too.
Yeah,
I think it was a 15-win Raptor team.
Yeah, no, the Raptors were terrible. I mean, they were blowing the Lakers out that day as the Seattle Seahawks were winning the NFC Championship that day as well. So kind of like Wilt, very few people saw that one. Saw that one as it actually happened. That's one big news story from the day. The other, Max Crosby, and 16 hours later, Trey Hendrickson's a Raven. So, I mean, I can connect the dots. Are you connecting the same dots?
Yeah, the dots connect. The thing, and you know, Mike, we're in this 24/7 news cycle. In a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world, none of these things would be announced until somebody passes a physical. Like, it's got to be, okay, you know, I mean, we got an understanding of something, but, you know, let's make sure the guy passes a physical. But in this world of agents that want numbers out there, info guys like Adam Schefter and others that want to be the first to break it. We're quick to rush to get the story out, and then something like this happens, and then you're like, oh, and it's got a domino effect. I mean, you saw how quick the Ravens moved. Now the Raiders have all this numbers game to play with players that they think they're bringing in, and what you do with Crosby and so forth. But that was kind of crazy. I forget where I was when I first saw it, and I'm like, what do you mean Crosby's not gone? And then you're like, well. And then I get up this morning and I see what happened with Hendrickson. You're like, oh, yeah. Oh.
It kind of feels like that was already starting to happen yesterday, maybe, just possibly.
Yeah.
I got home and I didn't look at my phone literally until I got home, and it's like all these notifications about the Crosby deal falling through. And by the way, Bam's got 43 at halftime. Really busy night last night.
What's the market for him now?
Crosby?
Yeah,
I still think it's pretty strong.
Probably, unless it was a really big red flag. But I mean,
like the doctor's saying what the doctor's saying, but all the insiders are sort of reporting now that maybe they're getting it from the same places, but like anyone that's an insider is saying, yeah, like they knew the injury. Everyone knew it's June or July that he'd be back on the field. We're not talking about September, June or July, being back on the field. Like, to me, if you were in on him and you still have the finances to be in on him, why wouldn't you still be in on him? It's probably going to come at a little bit of a discount from what we saw, I would presume, although I don't think it's going to be, hey, we have to just give him away now. I mean, it's an interesting, like, I was thinking about this, and I didn't say this earlier when we brought in. CV is in the camp. He thinks the Raiders might just keep him. I think that they're still going to trade him away. But Jacksonville doesn't have a first because of the Travis Hunter deal, right? But they do have two guys that are former first-round picks that might suffice in Brian Thomas Jr. or Trayvon Walker if they wanted to make that kind of a deal happen.
Yeah. No, I think there's a market for Crosby. I just kind of wonder how the market now is impacted actually with Hendrickson signing. And I'm sure their team, I think I saw several, like the Patriots maybe.
Yeah. I think the Lions, the Bears, Eagles.
I know the Giants wouldn't mind sending Thibodeau to the Jaguars. That's been out there for a little bit to free themselves of that headache. So it'll be interesting. I mean, the Hendrickson thing throws a total wrinkle into it now about what the market is. So,
Now, we talked about this, so I guess I'll ask you about it. There's no like league rule because this is the tampering period. Nothing is official yet. It's just more like ethically, is it the right thing to do what just transpired? What, if any, ramifications could you see in heading to Baltimore for the quote unquote backing out of this deal?
I don't know. I thought about that too. I mean, you'd have to get some pretty good evidence that they misled, and then someone's like, well, wait a minute, we got Hendrickson over here, and he may only want this. And it just depends on, what kind of evidence you got. And then it's kind of like college football, Mike. I mean, yeah, it's legal tampering, but doesn't everybody kind of lie and BS their way and try to finagle the best possible deal? So I don't know. I unless someone just has a really big bone to pick and goes, well, here's the evidence of what they did all along, and they knew it and everything. But the other part of it is one team's doctors read something differently maybe than somebody else. And I don't know, maybe like go find the opinion you want. You don't like the second opinion, go find the fourth, fifth, or sixth until someone tells you what you want to see. Well, it could be a fracture. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it is.
Turning to, again, it got home and the Americans were trailing the Italians last night in baseball, and then it got worse, and then it got much worse, and then it got interesting late. Are you mad at anybody? Because it does seem like, as an American sports fan, we expect to win everything, and when we don't, we get really mad, and a lot of people are pointing fingers at Marc DeRosa and such. Like, are you actually angry with anybody about losing last night?
We had this nice feature on Marc DeRosa yesterday with somebody that wrote a story about DeRosa, how well respected he is, and why it's not a regular MLB manager because the timing and everything. And then that happens last night. I blame everybody for the Team USA. It's not just DeRozan. You can't say, well, how did the manager not know? It's not like he's the only guy.
Mm-hmm.
How did they not know what the tiebreak rule was? And if you go back, I think people posted the clip on Fox after the last game. They said the U.S. advanced to the quarterfinals. So Fox was even wrong.
Mm.
But you still have to know the rule and the tiebreaker. So Fox got it wrong in the broadcast after the previous game. Somebody at Team USA has to be the stat guy that knows all the scenarios in play. So I think they're all to blame. Look, I enjoy the World Baseball Classic. I hope the Americans advance because it'll have me more interested. I understand because it's kind of like if you were to have a American Football World Championship, you're not going to get very good competition if you go by the citizenship and where you were born.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Italian roster is made up, I think, I might be wrong, I think there's 4 or 5 players with natural Italian citizenship in some form. We truly have guys playing on this team whose great-grandparents were Italian citizens, and that's how they qualified. But that's how some of these teams are put together. That's not how the Dominican Republic teams put together. It's not how the Puerto Rican teams put together. It's not how the Canadian teams put together. So we end up with some of these teams that have the majority of guys that were born in America that just happen to be playing for a different country because they're great-grandparents. Having said that, there's something magical about what happened last night.
Mm-hmm.
That Italian team still is not as experienced as the American team. And they won. It got interesting late. And now America has to sit and watch what happens today to see if they advance. We're not gonna be angry and demand wholesale changes of Team USA baseball like in Canada if they don't win an international competition. But I still think that this event continues to increase in awareness and look at the stars that are playing. I mean, that American team is a baseball dream team. I mean, that's as good as you can get. I mean, everybody's playing there. You got some pitchers that don't want to pitch anymore, but Aaron Judge was batting in the 9th inning. Schwarber's still playing. Bregman's still out there. I mean, and the fact that they may have known what the rules of tiebreak was, that's on everybody. I mean, to rip DeRozan today, even though he acknowledged he got it wrong, there's got to be a stat guy that goes, hey, just in case, here's the tiebreaker.
Mm. I had a student a couple of years ago, right after the last World Baseball Classic, Zach, that interviewed Marc DeRosa. Good interview. Good dude. And
he's incredibly popular.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a popular choice to manage the team the first go round.
And come on, yes, they rested they can rest guys because they got other stars they could put it in their place.
Right.
That wasn't the reason they lost.
Should have won the game.
Yes, 100% they should have won the game. And like you said, a few of those guys, they've eaten out of Olive Garden before, so they're playing for Team Italy. So
right.
That's the way it goes.
I ordered pizza too. Yes, yeah.
I like pizza. I'll be Team Italy. UCF get Cincinnati this afternoon. Wasn't that long ago they got Cincinnati. What do you make of second round here?
So the two teams split this year. UCF by 1 at home, and then they got beat pretty good at Cincinnati. On paper, it's not a great matchup. Just the two bigs, former UCF center Mustafa Cham and then Baba Miller. 2 7-footers can cause problems for UCF. And guard play has hurt UCF the last 3 games that the opposing team's guards have played better. Cincinnati comes into this game 7-2 their last 9. UCF is 0-3 and kind of a mess. Doesn't look like it's a great picture. However, like I've said the last 2 weeks, you got to find out if your guys really understand what's at stake, because I do think if UCF loses today, I don't think they'll make the tournament. If they win, they still may be among a group of teams that's under consideration. So I think they have to win today. You hope that they come out and understand that. And Cincinnati took a while to put away Utah yesterday, but finally did. And I think they'll be ready to play. You hope that maybe they got some tired legs, but you find out what guys care about, because for some guys, it's be the final basketball game they may ever play. And if you want to go to the tournament, you've got to play well today. But I'll say this, Mike, yesterday, and I think I've said this the last couple of years when you've done the show during this week, Kansas City does an amazing job with this event. And if you've never been to a big conference tournament, this is a town that does it up right. Yesterday, after I finished my show, went over there, And there were 8,000 people for the first game yesterday that began at 11:30. A combination of fans of all teams, and between BYU and Iowa State fans, it probably made up more than half of it. But I'm going to head over there for this first game, which is Arizona State, Iowa State. And I'm telling you right now, nobody, even more than Kansas, nobody brings more fans here than Iowa State. And I will guarantee you, when I walk into that building for an 11:30 game, there will be 15,000 people in there for this game today.
It is
Because
remarkable.
Iowa State travels.
You think about the opening round of the NCAAs, and there's oftentimes seats dressed as fans for some of those games. But the Big 12, the SEC, the Big East, the ACC, like they do an unbelievable job of filling out all those major venues for these conference tournaments.
They do, and you know, UCF is still evolving, so it's not like we've got thousands of fans here. But between BYU and Kansas and Iowa State, and even Houston now the last couple of years, they do bring, but also the community here does a great job. And you know, last night when BYU played and AJ DeBonnet did a great game, that place was about 80% full last night. And like I said, because of Iowa State, there'll be a great crowd. And then, you know, the UCF Cincinnati game, it's just going to have a bunch of Iowa State fans sitting around and BYU fans watching basketball. So, I mean, there'll be 10, 12,000 people the game today, maybe 1,500 to 2,000 combined UCF and Cincinnati fans. But that's part of what college basketball and tournaments like this is about. People are basketball hungry. And I was talking to BYU fans, and obviously since they've joined the league, they come up and spend the entire 2 weeks for the women's tournament and the men's tournament.
Wow.
And I was like, you are basketball junkies. So we'll see what happens today.
Yeah, and we see these things go either way. Sometimes playing early, you get the jitters out and, you know, you're in rhythm, and other times you're tired. Like it can kind of work both ways. So as you said,
and the court too, this special glass LED court has either been not a problem, or interesting, more losing teams say, yeah, the court bothered me today, shooting and everything. So
yeah, just like injuries only bother you when you're on defense.
Exactly.
Enjoy the call today. We'll look forward to the game.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
UCF Cincinnati, Kansas City. It's a 2:30 pregame, a 3 o'clock approximate tip. This afternoon is the second game on the schedule in Kansas City. We'll be back with the news next.
let's really do the news.
Yes.
Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock, WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740 Orlando sports leader. Mike Tuckin for Marc Daniels on a very busy Wednesday in college basketball. The Knights are in action at approximately 3 o'clock today in Game 2 at the Big 12 tournament site in Kansas City. They will take on the Cincinnati Bearcats for the third time this season. The winner would advance to tomorrow to take on the top seed in the Big 12, the Arizona Wildcats. There are currently 12 teams that have punched their ticket to the big dance. Last night, the West Coast Conference saw Gonzaga once again win the West Coast just in a remarkable run of success. It truly is. It's become expected that the Zags are not only going to win their conference, but they're going to be in contention, capping a 30-3 regular season. Just another great season for them. Siena wins the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference to advance to the tournament as well. 3 more tickets punched today. The Big Sky, the Southland, and the Patriot will all crown champions today. NBA last night saw Bam Adebayo go for 83, second most points ever scored in an NBA game behind only Wilt Chamberlain's 100. He surpassed Kobe's 81 last night with a couple of free throws late to get it done. The Heat were winners last night. And, that is obviously an enormous topic today in the world of sports. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will, next time out, which will be tomorrow, have a chance to pass Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive games scoring 20 points or more. He currently is tied after his explosive effort the other night against Denver, and that's 126 in a row currently. So that is an unbelievable streak. The Magic are back in action tonight at home, hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's one of a half dozen games on the association's schedule, 7:30 tip, an ESPN game. So some national coverage for a Magic team that's been playing much better here recently. A big opportunity on a big stage against a team they potentially could even see in the playoffs.
Could I ask you something real quick, going back to Bam's 83?
I was going to give you more room for it coming up, if you like, but go ahead.
No, this is just an honest question.
Yeah.
What do you think is more impressive? SGA's streak of 20-point games or the 83-point game?
I mean, they're both remarkable. You would think on the surface, like the initial gut reaction is, it's definitely 83 in one game. That feels like it's way more difficult to do. And then you look at where SGA and Wilt are at 126 and noting the next highest is 92. And the fact that like Jordan's on the list a couple of times around 70, right? And it's like, wow, so Jordan's that far lower. LeBron's not on that list. Kobe's not on that list. Kareem is. Karl Malone's not. Like, you start going through the greatest scores in NBA history, and the fact that they're nowhere near this number, it takes a great deal of luck, right? Because you can't get hurt. You can't be in a blowout one way or another where you don't get to play in a fourth quarter, perhaps, that you would come up short of that marker. I would still say 83, but like, I don't want to be dismissive of what Shai is breaking in Wilt's record either. Like, that's hard to do. That's hard to do.
Yeah, 126-point game. I mean, we were making a big deal about LeBron's 10-point streak not too long ago before that ended.
Which is also a big deal, but probably a lesser deal than this one.
Right.
Just because of the point threshold.
And now you're doubling it.
Right.
And then, again, 120, that's more than an entire season.
Yeah.
Almost a season and a half of just 20 points in a game.
Right.
I think that's pretty damn
and
impressive.
Wilt's is what, if you do the math, 218. So Wilt did it 218 out of 219 games in a row. 218 out of 219. Like, I don't know if Shai's getting there with it. That feels like it's impossible, which everything with Wilt in his numbers feels impossible in the grand scheme of it all. That's a good question, though. Like, you would go which way with that?
I would probably say the 126
You think that's the more impressive or the?
I do.
Yeah.
Because, and I've told you this off air, and Mark brought it up, the way Bam got to 83 was a mockery. It was a mockery. Yes, Kobe was getting the ball past him every single time. There's no video of the Wilt's 100-point game. But to just be purposely fouling on a team against a team that's tanking, it's just everything about it is just disgusting. There's
some of it works in his favor, right? Like there is that, but then there's some of it that works against you as well. I mean, they're triple teaming him. I mean, and if you read excerpts of those that were in attendance when Wilt had his game, they were triple and even it's written quadruple teaming him at times to try to get the ball out of his hands because it gets to a point, and it should be much earlier. I think we can all agree, like where pride kicks in and you go, well, not on my watch.
right.
Right. Well, that should have happened a little bit earlier in the game, frankly.
And then the fact that he took 43 free throws, like, come on.
It is a record, but he's a big, so maybe you expected a little bit more. The great, if someone's gonna score that many points, you're gonna get to the foul line. You're gonna make, even to his credit, he took 22 threes too, right? That's not normally in Bam's repertoire to even shoot the ball 22 times, let alone 22 threes. He did knock down 7 of those. Yeah,
No, it just
it's a lot of things that have to happen to get. And I the last thing, because I find it almost gross that the early reaction in the morning is so many people are like dismissing it and poo-pooing it and acting like, no, come on, like
I get you want to be
can
happy
we not enjoy the fact that dude scored 83 in a game?
when it's gifted to you the way it was.
It wasn't gifted,
It was.
though. No, maybe
Yes, it was.
No. It definitely wasn't gifted. Did Washington blow on defense? 100%, but they were bad in the first half. And like, does Spo keep him in the game longer than he needs to? Yes. But like, raise your hand honestly if you're mad about that as opposed to a guy going after a record. Like, we all want that. Hey, guy has a chance for a record, like for hits or home runs. Like, we're hoping he can get back up to the plate in the 8th or 9th inning. Like, let's not pretend like we're not.
Look, I'm not mad at it.
Right.
I just don't think it's again, it's going to go down in the record books. Bam Adebayo, second most points scored ever in a game.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I think there should be an asterisk or some connotation of
Stop. Because then how far do we want to keep going? Because Mark point, and like we talk, you can look at some things that happened with Keith Smith, like in Wilt's game for 100, right? You can look at some things that happened in Kobe's game for 81. Like, how far down do we want to go? Like David Robinson, I still remember on the last day of the season going for 70 to try to win the scoring record away from Shaq. Because, hey, let's get him the scoring record. Well, clearly you're manipulating the result here because you are not playing the game of basketball to win the game and win the game only in mind. But let's not pretend that's always the case. Guys go after records all the time in sports, and we're kind of cool with, hey, let's get some guy a payday in the NFL in the last week of the season. Let's funnel the ball to him. Let's get him his touches. Let's make sure some guy gets his stats in this game. Like, it's part of sports, whether we like it or not.
there's a little bit of a difference between trying to get someone a payday and then trying to manipulate a game to get a record.
It's just a record, though. Like, and it's not even a record for the record. It is the second most. It's not the most. We keep acting like it's the second
But again,
most.
it's the way he got there. The fact that you're purposely fouling the Wizards to get the ball to preserve time so he can score more, and it's just disgusting. It's disgusting.
I'm not arguing that, but I also struggle with anyone that's the first thing they go to is because then again, were you doing that with? And you have to go back. I don't know off the top of my head what Luka did or Elgin did or Devin Booker did. I'd have to watch all those games individually again to remember. Hey, yeah, like they're clearly trying to get him shots and he's taking bad shots and we're just okay with that.
Look, then Kobe had to take 61 shots to get his 81?
No, it wasn't that many. It was not that many. I looked it up earlier to see if I can figure out what it is now. Talk for a minute while I go back and try to find out how many shots he took. It wasn't that. He didn't shoot as many free throws. He made 7 threes. He took more shots.
Congratulations to Bam, 83. It's, again, next to your name, you'll be in the record books as the second most points, again, all time, but
28 out of 46.
46?
Yeah, 46
What
shots.
game did he take 61?
Shots?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Oh, probably the last game of his career.
Yeah, okay. That's what I
Which
was
you're
thinking of.
manipulating because it's the last game of his career to get to 60. It was great that he got the 40 to 50. I mean, this is Kobe on his last legs.
I get it.
But are we going to be mad that, like, it's, again, not even a record, but like, and the Lakers, by the way, had to come back and win that game. That's the other part that, like, mattered. Like, he had to make those shots to win the game against Utah in the final game. It doesn't matter. They weren't going to the playoffs, but like, I don't know. At some point, sit back and enjoy the show, man. It's entertainment.
What was entertaining about it?
Washington and Miami on a Tuesday night.
What was entertaining about it?
Can we not be excited about Miami and Washington on a Tuesday night? No one else would have cared. We never would have cared about this game.
It was a team.
Can you imagine buying a ticket or someone giving you a ticket because they don't want to go see that game? Hey, you want my ticket? I don't care about watching the Wizards game tonight. And you stumble into, Bam Adebayo dropping 83. It's one of the more random feats you could ever imagine.
It was a blowout game.
As you would expect when someone achieves something like this.
Blowout game. It was the constant fouling, the constant horrible manipulation of the game. Again, congratulations, but
Washington was fouling other guys too.
I'm a little, if I'm Bam, I'm like,
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I will not accept that. We can be excited and we can be happy for the dude. Scored 83 in a game. Relax. It's not a record. Nobody should be losing sleep over this. He scored a lot of points in an NBA game. It's great.
Not losing sleep. I just think it's disgusting.
It's great. It's great. I don't like the way the fourth quarter was played, but I will not go so far as to say it's disgusting or Bam needs to apologize.
I'm not saying he needs to apologize. No one needs to apologize.
Washington
it is what it is. The game's in. The game's done. Results are in. It's not going to change. No one needs to apologize for it. It is what it is. It's disgusting the way he got there.
So what's your record then?
What, for most points in a game?
Yeah. That you don't feel disgusted by it.
There's no video of Wilt. We go off.
Oh my God, please don't tell me you're one of those people.
We go off hearsay.
It's not hearsay. Wait, did the Celtics not win titles back then because they weren't televised? Sorry, Red. We're going to have to take a few away, Bill Russell. It's not 11. Sorry. I didn't get to see it on NBC, so it doesn't count. I didn't NBC it.
It's 100.
Yes, 100's the record.
Okay.
Thank you. And 83 is the second most. And 81's the third most.
I'm not saying it's not.
And then Wilt again, and then Wilt again, and Wilt.
Okay.
A lot of Wilt on that all-time list. See, I didn't want to talk about it yet, and now you got me talking about it. All right. Unfortunately, that's it for the news. I talked about the Bucks and the Jags a little bit earlier and kind of where they sit in the offseason. I did not get a chance to talk about the Dolphins. Chris says it doesn't make sense. I will try to make sense of what the Dolphins have done so far next year on the Beat of Sports.
Ready for more sports talk? Of course you are. In for Marc Daniels, here's Mike Tuck.
Very, very crazy and busy 24 hours in the world of sports. I'm Mike Tuck in for Marc Daniels on this Beat of Sports Wednesday. Chris Vasquez alongside as well, 50857. We see your text in the text line. We'll get those coming up in about 10 minutes. So we'll respond to some of the things that are on there. Online and streaming at 969thegame.com. And our YouTube stream is up as well. You can watch us at YouTube 969 Game On. And on Twitter X, the stream is up there as well. Real quick, Harp and Kilt, the place to be, coming up in about 35 minutes. It will be an early edition of Bianchi and Kravitz Game On, downtown Orlando. They'll be broadcasting for about 2.5 hours ahead of UCF basketball pregame for their game this afternoon in the Big 12 Conference Tournament. So if you're looking for something to do, hang out for lunch, have a drink downtown with Bianchi and Kravitz. They'll have plenty to react to, certainly with what we've seen in the last 24 hours. I gave you my thoughts on the Bucks and the Jags so far in this offseason. I also would give gold stars to Carolina and the LA Rams for looking like they've improved the most this offseason, which obviously, if you're a Bucks fan, the Carolina thing isn't necessarily the best news. But, hey, they got a rookie quarterback contract that they're trying to make the most out of for the upcoming year, and they're certainly being very splashy so far. So the Dolphins, okay? The Tua thing, regardless of how I've told you I felt about it for the last few months, felt inevitable, and it's inevitable that they're just going to take the $99 million hit over the next couple of years.
Make it make sense.
All right? So that's fine. It's a new regime that facilitated that happening. They've unloaded numerous pieces this offseason, from Tyreek Hill to Bradley Chubb to Minkah Fitzpatrick. If there's a mistake with the Fitzpatrick thing, it's not on this regime. It's really on the last one for not trading him at the trade deadline last year. But as you may or may not remember, the Dolphins were actually gaining some momentum and probably everyone trying to save their jobs and make the playoffs. So I can live with that result. I don't know. Maybe you get a 5th round pick from last year instead of 7th now. It's like, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over a move the last regime made. And they're not even saving that much money, but they have become the youngest team in the NFL. So as far as making it make sense, so far this offseason, the Dolphins have gone from one of the older teams in the league to legitimately now the youngest roster in the NFL that will only get younger through the upcoming NFL draft, in addition to what they've already done. You look at them on paper, and this is getting to the Malik Willis thing. They restructured Austin Jackson today, by the way. There was some speculation he could be traded as well. He's been really injured a lot the last couple of years, but was productive in the Dolphins' productive years as their starting right tackle. I still think, obviously, tackles have immense value in this league. There's no such thing as having too many good offensive linemen. Even guys that you deem as average, most teams would pay a boatload of money to have. So keeping him there is in the best case scenario for your young quarterback now, Malik Willis.
You definitely want depth there.
Your right guard, left guard situation in Miami is very much in flux. Don't know if they've drafted a bust last year in Savanea. That remains to be determined. Maybe they'll switch him to the right side of the line after he played the left side of the line after playing the right side of the line in college. I don't know. That's up to the new regime to decide. They clearly are going to need another guard. That was a miss last year. James Daniels played 3 snaps for them and they was out for the year. So they had to play with second and third teamers all year last year. They clearly need another wide receiver or 2 into the mix to help support their quarterback. It will be interesting what direction they take now, Chris, because I'm trying to, I can see sort of the vision. They've already gotten much younger. They need a lot of help on defense. Defensive tackle, they're fine. Inside linebacker, they're fine. It's end, which they will have true wide 9 rush ends with this new scheme. So they're going to need at least 1, probably 2 or 3, really, maybe to add to the whole roster. Outside linebacker, I mean, heck, they probably need 3 corners. Everyone's gone. They got to make some decisions on who's going to play that spot. So that's where the draft comes in, and safety, they need help there too. So will they go kind of an all defensive draft, or will they say, hey, let's just try to make the most of Malik Willis's first year here, make upgrades on the offense, be bad on defense, and then we'll address the defense next year when we have a little bit more money to spend and draft capital to spend it on? Or will they do a mixture, a combination of the both? But I can sort of see the vision of it all. we talked about Malik Willis, heck, a month ago, and probably even since then. I have several notes since I've been on the show this offseason. On paper, I mean, you can see the vision for anybody. I didn't think it would actually happen for the Dolphins because of some of the rumors of it going over $30 million, and their financial situation wouldn't allow that. It came down, maybe in part because other teams weren't willing to go there or just weren't as interested as maybe it first seemed to be. So Miami gets them 367.5, 45 guaranteed. Basically, it's a 2-year deal for that $45 million. So as far as starting quarterback salaries go, maybe a little bit more than you'd want for somebody with his track record or limited track record, but not anywhere close to the top of the market. I mean, he's at the bottom of the market. You take rookies out, he's at the very bottom of the market, minus, the newbies that just came open. Kyler's not going to make, and Tua and Geno aren't making anything. So I think if they're invested, clearly they are in him. They got a chance to be around him a lot the last couple of years, that they think he could be the future with his age and his abilities, then it becomes a 1 to 2 year trial run for him. The part that gets a little sticky is if Miami is so bad this year that they're drafting up in the top 5, which is still totally in play, right? Based on the odds, that they could be 1 or 2 if you're just looking at over or unders. That's where it gets, all right, what did Malik show us versus what's available potentially, because we said the same thing about this draft, by the way, potentially in next year's draft at quarterback, that it becomes potentially a hard decision of, hey, we feel good, we're going to go in another direction, maybe even trade that pick and get more assets to build around him, or it was a total miss, kind of the way Justin Fields was a total miss for the Jets. We still owe him some money, but hey, we can keep him around. We'll draft the future. So I think what they've done actually does make sense to me to this point. I don't like stinking, and they're going to stink next year, but I've also endured the last 25 years, them being average or bad for about 20 of them. So I guess it's just another year of my life of the Dolphins not being any good.
Are Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane part of their long-term plan?
I wouldn't view Waddle, but they do. So I think that maybe it's just to support Willis this next year. Maybe Waddle will play the 1 year with him and they'll make a determination otherwise. I do think this is probably where you would maximize the capital on that, though, is now. So if you're not doing it now, you're certainly going to do it for much less a year from now, because if it doesn't work out, you're going to make less off of it. And Achane's the interesting one because he's dirt cheap, right? And so even if you get a first-round pick from him, are you going to be able to acquire somebody better than him? And then you're going to have to pay him. It becomes very, very interesting. But at some point, here's the defense in keeping. At some point, you have to keep good players and pay them to stick around. So he's been dynamic. He's been everything he thought he maybe could be at A&M, and really even better for somebody as diminutive. And him and the James Cooks of the world have made it so that smaller running backs are really making it right now in the NFL and doing more than we thought they could.
I ask you that because you say you see the vision with the Dolphins getting younger.
Yeah.
But to me, you're bringing in Malik Willis because the hope is you want him to be the franchise quarterback.
Yes.
You want him to win you games. You want him to show what he can showcase.
Yeah. In 2 years, you hope you're giving him an extension that pays him a lot of money.
But at the same time, you're gutting your entire defense. You're probably potentially getting rid of his number 1 receiver as well as his top running back. So you're leaving him with nothing.
No. You're not potentially doing any of that. You asked me about, they've been very clear, so that we are clear, that Achane and Waddle are building blocks. They've been very clear on that. They're not moving off of those guys if we take them at their word.
Okay, so that kind of changes things because I've been expecting them to.
No, that's out there because obviously, but again, Bradley Chubb is in his 30s. Bradley Chubb was awesome last year, I thought, for a bad team. Tyreek was a move you were going to make, older wide receiver coming off a major injury. And Minkah Fitzpatrick's 29. No sense in paying a safety a lot of money. He was 29 on a team not going anywhere. And leave it to the Jets to. I didn't give him anything for him, but what are the Jets doing? I don't know.
But because my whole thing was you're getting rid of everyone, and then you want to see what you got in Malik Willis. But he's got nothing to work with.
Well, no, that's where I would say I think offensively they have at least those two guys. They're set at left tackle and center and right tackle now that Austin Jackson's back. Yes, they brought back Bellinger too at tight end. So like I could see where, all right, offensively the pieces are functional enough right now that Malik Willis will survive next season. And I don't know what they're going to do. Again, like what will be their draft strategy? Are they going to lean one way or the other to build this team up? Or will they just do a little bit of best player available, what comes to them? It's not going to be his best opportunity on paper. No, I would agree with you, but
I just think you're expecting the team. They're not going to be good. You're not going to be winning 8, 9, 10, 11 games, but maybe Malik Willis is good enough to get you 5, 6 wins.
Okay. That puts you in the top 5.
Does it though?
Yeah.
You think that'll be a top 5 draft pick?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're falling more.
I mean, the over/under is 4.5. I mean, if they win 5 games, they're right up there at the top of the board.
I just think they would be better off.
And if Malik Willis plays well enough, to your point, to get him, then great. Then they can trade that pick for a quarterback needy team or draft whoever the draft. I mean, 5's not for Jeremiah Smith, but heck, maybe Jeremiah Smith. Maybe they have the worst record and they take Jeremiah Smith.
I would just completely bottom out. Take your chance on a draft. You'll have a quarterback for 5 years on a rookie contract.
This doesn't exclude that opportunity. I hear what you're saying, but they must believe in the guy. Like, clearly, they know him better than anybody. The GM and the now head coach that was the guy that Willis was playing against in practice, his first team defenses. I'm excited to see Malik Willis play. I'm not going to lie. Like, he played legitimately. I went over it a few weeks ago. Legitimately great last year in his opportunities. Like, legitimately great. The year before, I think, they won some lower scoring games. He wasn't asked to do a whole lot, but with the little that he was asked to do, he did pretty well.
He's never thrown more than 70 passes in a game. He's never played more than
70 in a game would be a lot, Chris.
Sorry, in a season. Sorry. Never thrown more than 70. Never hit.
He might have a chance for records if he throws 70 times in a game.
Let's not go back to that. Well, he's never thrown more than 70 times in a season.
Yeah,
he's never played more than half a season.
I know.
That's why
you're paying him. That's why you're paying him $22 million a year for
$45 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
that's just too rich for a team that's not going anywhere for the next couple of years.
Look, teams turning it around a lot quicker than we expect. I don't think they're going to be good next year, but I do see a vision because how young they've gotten and with the capital they have to spend. That
on top of having to deal with the $99 million dead cap hit
in the 27 season, them being much better if things work out. Not saying it's going to. As a Dolphins fan, I almost don't expect it to, but it could. It could. I mean, look at Denver. Who the hell would have thought? That's the easy thing to point to because of what happened with Russell Wilson's deal. But who the hell thought Denver would have made the playoffs 2 years ago and then this past year was the number 1 seed off of everything they dealt with? They did it right with everything else they did. They extracted older players. They drafted really, really well.
But they also had a Super Bowl winning head coach.
Okay. I can't dispute that. But I'm not giving Sean Payton all the credit either.
Give upper management credit, and there's nothing to show that Miami's been capable of making these smart moves.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not trying to convince you that they're going to win. I'm just saying I understand the process. You're not right. Look, if I'm betting, God, it's been 25 years since they won a playoff game. No, I'm not betting on anything. You're not wrong. It's like betting on Dallas to win a Super Bowl, not based on. I'm sorry, but I feel like we're taking some personal hits here.
No personal hits. I just don't see the vision.
That's the vision, though. They've become the youngest team in the league, and they do have some on a 53-man roster, some players that you can envision in 3 years being part of a winning outfit because they are young.
And then again, is Jalen Waddle the long-term plans?
To me, he's not, but I'm not in charge. I can only tell you what I think.
But that's my point, though. You don't see what you have now as long-term pieces.
I do see some of the other pieces, yes.
It shouldn't be this complicated.
Oh, it's a very complicated league, my friend.
I get that, but it shouldn't be. It really.
I mean, even when you're winning, think of like teams that are winning and how complicated it is for the Buffaloes and the Phillies. I mean, Philly feels like it's an on again, off again relationship. I mean, and that's a team that's won 2 Super Bowls. Like, that's just the league, man.
we overcomplicate things when sometimes it's simple.
It's not simple, though.
We make things complicated.
The NFL might be making things complicated. I'll share an interesting story that CV brought up to me about an hour ago, and we'll get to your text as well at 50857. It's the Beat of Sports.
Just because Marc Daniels isn't here doesn't mean there's no beat of sports. Filling in for Mark, here's Mike Talk.
Mark's off with UCF. They'll play this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Kravitz and Bianchi, game on. An early edition ahead of UCF basketball, 12 o'clock. They'll be on the air after us at Harp and Kilt downtown. You can go check those guys out live. 50857 CV. I know we have some texts up there. One of them said you're a curmudgeon, right?
So I'll read these in order here. Because of social media and current news broadcasting, there will always be people who talk negatively about something.
Yep.
Not wrong.
Yep. 100%.
Chris is the Grinch of sports. I'm not the Grinch. It's disgusting the way he got there.
What makes you happy today?
Not a lot these days. Not a lot these days.
I meant sports. I know your daughter and your wife make you
Yes.
happy. I'm not talking about like lay on the couch here. I'm just, hey, like I'm happy. Like this has been an amazing, last sports 24 hours with stories.
I love NFL free agency.
Yeah.
I would like my Dallas Cowboys to be a little bit more involved. Like I don't understand signing a fourth quarterback or signing guys to 1-year deals that they've done for the last God knows how many years. It's the same old song and dance in Dallas. It's frustrating. So that doesn't make me happy.
Okay.
Mike Evans got his record by entering the game for one more reception. Strahan got his record because Favre took a fall. It's how record books are written.
Yeah.
I will argue that Joe Burrow also took a dive for Myles Garrett.
Oh, didn't it?
Yes, he did.
No, he did.
Yes, he did.
Myles Garrett got there at like 1.2 seconds, and Joe Burrow said, "Oh crap!"
And Joe Burrow took a dive.
Well, he didn't
Joe
want to
Burrow
get
went
killed.
down.
He'd been killed enough last year. No,
But-
Texter's right. Like we have had these things manipulated over the years. Doesn't take away from the achievement, because even to be in the ballpark of any kind of an all-time great record means you did a lot of legwork to get there.
Look, Mike Evans going back into a game to try and get one more reception.
To get his 1,000-yard
Yeah,
season
yeah.
streak extended. No, that's great. It's not
No.
like Mike Evans had already established a Hall of Fame resume before doing that.
Right.
If they want to do that because they have the ability to do that and the game result doesn't matter as much at that point, then that's fine. I'm not losing sleep over it. Guys get their
But
money. Guys
everything
get their
that
accomplishments.
the Wizards and the Heat did, it's disgusting. So yeah,
And-
call me a
and
curmudgeon,
yet-
call me a Grinch.
And yet I'm smiling today.
That's
It's
fine.
Christmas morning and got to open up the presents. 83 points. Oh, man, 83 points. I didn't even know I wanted 83 points. I got 83 points, man.
That
That it?
that's it for text.
Okay.
Um,
All right,
I
so
mentioned-
there are two major stories. What we're gonna do, because we're running out of time. We're gonna break, and I will tease this that the Colts are involved in two major little storylines that broke in the last 30 minutes.
both horrible. Well, I don't know about one, but I know the Alec,
Wow.
Alec Pierce
Hey,
is horrible.
the Grinch is at it again, man. They're both horrible.
I don't know what the second one is.
There are two.
Actually, no. I do know.
Yeah,
I
there are
do know.
two about the Colts.
One
that
sucks. One sucks for them.
Yeah, very interesting. We'll share with that as we wrap up the Beat of Sports next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Marc Daniels with UCF in Kansas City. They'll take on Cincinnati at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Winner advances to tomorrow to take on top seed Arizona in the Big 12 Conference Tournament. The Colts in the news this morning for a couple of things. Let's start out with Ian Rappaport reporting before the Ravens signed Trey Hendrickson after they backed out, chickened out, copped out of their deal with the Raiders. They actually, the Colts were the front runners to land Trey Hendrickson, according to Ian Rappaport.
I don't know why the Ravens backing out of Max Crosby deal would impact Trey Hendrickson changing his mind unless he had wanted to sign with Baltimore all along, which then begs the question, why didn't Baltimore offer him a deal to start?
I don't know. Dollars and cents, change of heart. A
lot of questions.
In time, we will maybe get some answers to these things.
It feels like Trey Hendrickson would maybe want to sign with Baltimore to kind of stick it to the franchise that didn't give him the long-term deal that he wanted.
Yeah, maybe that's what changed his mind. I don't know.
But then why not do it at the beginning of free agency?
I don't know.
Kind of save all of this mess.
There's a lot more questions than there are answers. We do have an answer to who will quarterback the Colts at some point next season. It will be Daniel Jones. He signed a 2-year, $88 million, up to $100 million guaranteed. So if up to 100. So he wanted 50. He can make up to 50 if he hits a bunch of incentives.
They had such a weak schedule, and they were on the downslide before he got hurt. He left the game
against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that was their third straight loss. I no way I can justify giving him 44 and up to $50 million a year off his injury. You just lost Michael Pittman.
Well,
you want to give Alec?
No. They traded Michael Pittman because they chose Alec Pierce. One directly influenced the other.
That deal was asinine.
I'd rather have Pierce than Pittman, injury, age, etc. But I agree with you. Way overpaid. But someone was going to do it. They just chose to be the team that did it.
I don't understand it.
I don't need the NFL in every day on television in my life, frankly. I love it, but I do want to spend time with my family and friends. The NFL is exploring Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. I'll watch it. I'm not saying I won't watch it.
Of course we will.
But do I need it? Do you need it?
Always.
You need it?
Always.
You need it? All right. That's where we're at right now. CV, I might see you tomorrow. Depends on UCF this afternoon.
Well, you know what? For UCF's sake, I hope I see you tomorrow.
I hope so as well. They would advance to play Arizona. Harp and Kelt, that's where you can catch Game On. Bianchi and Kravitz, they are coming your way next with a 2.5-hour show a little earlier today. Listen to them. Go out and join them. That's next.